Following the fate of two Japanese hostages taken by the Islamic State. The hostage takers had set a Friday deadline for Japan to pay a $200 million ransom. That deadline has passed. On Friday, ISIL posted another video with a countdown to zero and disturbing images of the hostages the group has already killed. The Japanese government concluded it has no legal basis for military action against ISIL. Meanwhile, Japanese Muslims gathered in Tokyo's largest mosque to pray for the two hostages. Now, joining us from New York is Thomas Ruskin. He's a former detective with the New York City Police Department and the president of security and an investigative firm. Tom, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, should countries pay a ransom to hostage takers to save the lives of their citizens?
No, that's not the policy of the United States and shouldn't be the policy of any country in a civilized world. Once you start paying ransoms for hostages, you open a whole new dialogue and a whole new host of problems moving forward.
What about a hostage rescue operation? We know there was that failed rescue mission last year conducted by U.S. Special Forces to free Luke Summers from al-Qaeda terrorists in Yemen. Unfortunately, it did not end well. Are there certain circumstances that decide whether these types of rescue operations should happen?
Well, of course, the United States has set a policy that if we can rescue one of our citizens, we will do so. And that's up to the president and the Joint Chiefs of Staff to formulate a plan based on real-time intelligence to try and determine if that person is viably there. Can Special Forces, the SEALs or other Special Forces, go in and rescue them? And what are the chances to our forces by doing that? And the possibility of succeeding in your mission.
Tom, what about establishing some kind of a dialogue or conversation with the bad guys? Can that make a difference in saving lives?
Well, of course. I mean, you know, ISIL and ISIS and the other radical groups, the people in Saudi Arabia, the southern peninsula of in Yemen, if you can talk to them, but, you know, most of these people are only interested in getting out their message and are probably going to kill their hostage anyway. But if you can negotiate with someone relative to a hostage of your country, of course you should attempt. ISIL is not one of those groups.
And Tom, what about precautions for journalists or people traveling? I mean, what would be your advice? Just don't go there?
Well, I mean, there's certain countries that unless you have a reason to be there, but as you and I both know, journalists every single day put themselves in harm's way to bring us real-time news and real-time stories from the region they're covering. I mean, reporters have been killed in Syria covering the Syrian problem and in Cairo and Egypt, and that's what they do for a living. But if you're just going there as a sightseer, I think you really should have your head examined unless you have a reason really to be there.
Tom Ruskin, thank you so much for your time, sir.